where one of my favorite memories, and I was glad that you remembered, was I don't know how young I was, but I was taken with the fact that cigarettes were bad, and and I don't know how old I was, but I saw you with a pack of Salem cigarettes in your hand, and somewhat rudely I ripped them out of your hand. I said, I don't want you smoking anymore because they're bad for you, and I want you to live. And you were rightfully looked like you were going to kill me at first, but then you didn't, and you thought maybe I shouldn't.
It deeply affected my life. Here's a memory I have. Stephen was probably 7 or 8 years old in Stone Harbor, and at one point he looked at me and said, "I love you so much, Aunt Bunny. You're going to die if you smoke. Please don't smoke anymore." And it really touched me.
I remember that story too, and I wasn't even there. All right.
So Mom used to have a holder for her cigarettes in the house. You remember that? Tarleton cigarettes. And it said coffin nails on the cigarette. So we used to look at it like, okay, and Dad smoked a pipe, right? So those different times, right?
All right, Karen?
I just remember just having a wonderful childhood and just being really grateful for all the overnights and Wendy's times in Stone Harbor. And I'm just really glad that you're able to see Ari and have memories with you with him.
He's being heard.
He's angry.
He's telling his stories.
Yeah.
Let's see what he's doing.
Could I mention this? I'd like to mention this.
No.
So,
No.
pardon me?
A little louder.
Oh, okay. So Paula and I found each other when we were the middle child of large families, and it started to dawn on us actually what we had in common. What we had in common was there was never a minute in our life that we didn't know our parents loved us and protected us. There was never a moment, and there has never been a moment in our life. If you could pass that on, kids, unbelievable. That's the goal with children. As long as you go in life, you know, if that was the way you felt about your mother and father, we should all be that lucky, I guess.
Amen.
Amen on that.
One thing I've really appreciated recently, I'd say since Mom moved to Whitehorse Village, was just Mom's wisdom in navigating relationships in a community. I mean, it's one thing in a family, that's hard. But when you're with people and things happen, or the administration does something, and I've just seen her go through this sorting process, like what should I do that will keep the community together? I got to live with these people, and we've got to support each other. So that's been a really wonderful learning curve for me, because I think it's not been all easy.
I want to echo that, because your mom, I think, is in so many ways the youngest in spirit and hippest of the people who live here.
That's me.
How about one memory of Grandma from this table that you each have? Okay, just one. Yeah, each of you.
One of my favorite memories of Grandma was anytime Pat and I would come stay with you, either in Westchester, Stone Harbor, or Florida. At nighttime, you would always come in and tell us a story of Pepper Ripper. It was a fictional version of Pepper the actual dog.
Pepper Upper?
Pepper Ripper.
Pepper Ripper, yep.
And you would have each time the story would go on and like build on itself. And it was just incredible how you could make up the story, and it always was a great way to fall asleep.
It was so much fun. I don't know where those stories came from, but it was fun.
Well, but Bill and Lou, what was your story? Do you remember Johnny Jordan?
Oh, yeah.
There was always a moral to the story, right? There's always a moral to it. Paige, you have one?
I do. I just wanted to say that, so I joined the family unofficially, I guess, 10 years ago. I got married 5 years ago. And just from the first time we met, you were so interested in me, you asking me all kinds of questions, and I felt very welcomed in right from the beginning, and I'm just very grateful to know you and to have known you and Granddaddy together as well.
Thank you. Still interested.
I'd say one of my most memorable things about Grandma and Granddad was that whenever we would come up to visit and spend time with them, before we had always left, they had always given Brian and I a bag of Tootsie Rolls to take home with us. And so that was something that I always associated with Grandma and Granddad, which was always super nice.
And that I always told you you were special.
Yep. Rachel?
So when I was younger, my parents had let me watch Jaws, and I don't know if you remember this, and I was petrified of going in the ocean. I always loved swimming in it. Yeah, rightfully so. You and Granddad had come down to visit my family when we were down in Stone Harbor, and you asked me why I wasn't swimming in the ocean. You told me that Granddad was all excited to go swimming with me in the ocean, and him and my dad were out there, and I told you why. I was like, well, I'm scared of sharks now because I watched Jaws. And I remember your reaction, like, why did your parents let you watch that? And then you're like, just go in the ocean, you're fine, and your granddad and father are out there. And ever since that time, like, I listened to you and I went back in, and I overcame my fear, and I've never not gone in the ocean since then.
Oh, there you go.
So mine, this is like precursor for where I am now in my life. I don't know, I was like probably 9 or 10, and we were at church in Stone Harbor, I guess it was in Avalon, and it was just the two of us, and every time that they would say amen, you would yell a woman, and I was like, and you were like, no, it's a woman, because like we are the same, we are equal, and I was like, okay. So I followed your lead and said it at St. Margaret's one day, and that did not go over very well.
I understand that.
Right. So yeah. So I would say it was like planting a seed at the ripe old age of 10.
A woman.
And I remember, Molly, you were the first altar girl in our family. The first altar girl.
We will not say what your cousin wrote.
Right.
And she is now the first abbot who is an elected official.
Yay!
Yes, she is.
That would be me. Oh, I'm a committee person for the Chester County Democratic Committee.
Excellent.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. Tony, you have anything?
I do want to say something. I'm a friend of Bunny's from about the early 70s. I met Bunny and Joe in the charismatic movement, and I was drawn to them naturally. They were such a couple, as well as, just a shining example. And I had actually had counseling with Bunny. She helped me out a lot. And we had a lot of fun together, theater and movies and you name it.
And Tony and I walked together through a lot of things.
Yeah.
She lost a child, we lost a child. We've done a lot together. We do love to go to movies together.
Yes, and we were English majors and all that stuff. That's true. Thanks, Ben.
Paola.
So I have two memories. The first one is, Bunny, I want to thank you so much because 4 years ago, maybe 5 now, I found myself without a job after being a reporter for 15 years and PR for a year. And I'm like, okay, I want to be my own boss, but I didn't really have the guts to go on my own because I've never done that. So I talked to a lot of people in the industry. Should I go on my own? Should I find a job? And I still, even I talked to my mom, and it wasn't until I talked to you that I said, Bunny, you said like, so how is the job hunting going? And I said, well, I have this, I don't know whether to start my own business or go or find another job. And you said, oh, you should start your own business. And that was all it took. for me to decide to go to start my own business, which I did, and knock on wood, it's going really well. So I want to thank you because you changed our lives, really. And the other anecdote I have that we have is like, we were ready to buy a house because I had a job in in Palm Beach, and I was living in Miami, so tired of commuting an hour and a half every day. We were desperate, so we found this house that it was right by like a train and a garbage dump. But it was halfway from my job and halfway, so the location was great. So we called Bunny. We said, Bunny, we found the right house. It is. Somebody said, is it big? Well, not really. Does it have a lot of closet? Well, not really. And it is. And they said, but it's right by the train, and it's by. And Bunny said, like, you got to be kidding. And that was all it took for us to say, like, okay, let's move on. And thank God, because then came the recession, and that house that was priced at like $400,000 went down to like $150,000. So
Wow.
we would be completely underwater, plus having the train to listen to the train every day, smelling the
Or the smell. I would worry about the smell more than the train.
So thank you, Bunny, for that too.
All right.
Kathy? You've known Mom a long time.
Where do I start?
Since she was 15 years
15. Well, I was 14 when I met Bill. 15 when we started dating. Probably the funniest memory not the funniest. It put a sour taste in my mouth, and I'm only going to tell this because of that. I was out Wildwood with my friends, and I came over to see Bill in Stone Harbor. And you didn't like the shirt I was wearing.
It was a halter.
It was a halter top, which was in back then. It was so in, and we took a walk to the beach. You remember you sat me down, and you told me that you thought I was steering your son in the wrong direction.
It was a distraction when I was driving.
I personally thought it was really nice. I was terrified of you for the longest time after that because I was just like, oh my gosh, I didn't know what to wear. But on another note, you gave me the best thing, your son. So
You have been such a sweet person in my life.
you too.
How did you meet Uncle Joe?
Pardon?
How did you meet Uncle Joe?
In the day, in the Catholic world, there were high school dances. And that was so we would meet each other and stay within the fold, so to speak. And so I was with my girlfriends at 69th Street Terminal, and we were going to a dance at Sacred Heart in Manoa. So all this is all parish talk.
Sacred Heart Manoa still exists and still has dances.
Okay. So I was introduced to Uncle Joe in the back of 69th Street Terminal, which was the music place. And I said hello to him, he said hello to me, he was going someplace else, and didn't he show up at this dance at Sacred Heart in Manoa? We danced all night long together, and that was it.
And how old were you?
I was 17, he was 17. And he asked to take me home, and I said yes.
That night.
That night, yeah. And that was the beginning of...
How would you have gotten home otherwise?
I would have taken the bus again with my girlfriends, but he was driving with somebody else.
But there is a corollary to this story.
Uh-oh.
And that is, she dumped somebody who became one of the most well-known priests in the Archdiocese.
Wow.
Who used to be around our house quite a bit. But he was Monsignor Ray Teller, and he was one of the most well-known and respected priests in the Archdiocese of Philadelphia.
Well, he married her.
He died young.
Yeah, he dropped in about
Scarred, obviously.
And this is the lady who criticized your beach attire.
It's all right. I got the man though, so it must have done some good.
All right, anyone else?
Bill, we need to hear from Bill.
No.
Bill.
Oh. Let's see. So,
Come on over here to Gigi. Come here, Char.
Go see Jake. Go see Jake. Go. So this is just a little anecdote about Mom's sort of spirit and heart. One time she was in Chester County Hospital. I had taken me to Chester County Hospital, and she was. I don't remember if it was when you were having the back pain or it was a heart thing, but I was sitting there. You were in bed, and you're just like out of it and just tired, and you started counseling me about what was going on with Billy at the time, and it just I wrote everybody an email after that, and it was just like the fact that you were counseling me when you were like on your deathbed about good things that were happening, that could happen for Billy at that time. So I never forget it.
Well, we want to give you guys credit, Bill and Kat.
Yeah, well, I said to Bill last night, we would not have been able to do any of it without you guys.
Your family. For those of you who don't know, Billy is in recovery from addiction to heroin, and so is the woman that he married.
Yesterday.
And yesterday was one of the most beautiful. Bill and Kath have just raised these two up so high, and it was such a beautiful, dignified wedding that inspired me. These two have inspired all of our lives, the way they have stayed by their children and lifted them up. And Charlie is the prize. Charlie's
As I said, we would not have been anywhere without your love and support. So family is great. It really is.
All right, Teresa.
Okay, so I'm going to read something this is two-parted gift, okay? So the first is, this is a book that has a story of Bunny Abbott. It actually is from the last 10 years, because I already did the slideshow that was the first day, but it has some gems. But I'm going to read the last part. Okay. The first two paragraphs are from Bishop Desmond Tutu. Archbishop Desmond Tutu, but the last line is something I hope you know who it's come from. My dear, my beloved Bunny, you are loved with a love that nothing can shake. A love that loved you long before you were created. A love that will be there long after everything has disappeared. You are precious with a preciousness that is totally quite immeasurable. And I want you to be filled with life and goodness and laughter and joy. On your 90th birthday, I smile with joy for the life you have lived, the love you have shared, and the creativity and passion you have brought to all who have crossed your path. Thank you.
beautiful.
So after we do the cake and I have a slideshow that's going to be in the other room that will actually take us through these, but also another gift that we have. Wow. So let's do cake.
All right.